We are officially started. Once again, I want to welcome you to the Eat Well Cooking Club for Better Health. Our December theme is Embracing the Holidays, Family, Food, Fun, and Festivity. Okay, so as we know, Advocates for Community and Wellness is a nonprofit 501c3. We're founded in 2003. We are a faith-based, non-denominational, holistic health promotion and nutrition education ministry without walls. We bring wellness program to you where you live, work, learn, shop, play, and worship. Educating and promoting health, nutrition, cooking classes, wellness program, and teaching the relationship between diet, simply is the food we eat, our health, and chronic conditions. I'm Del Kane, and I will be your moderator for today. I'm the founder and director of Advocates for Community Wellness. I am also a professional nutrition specialist. I'm a certified plant-based cooking coach. I also have received additional training in plant-based nutrition program from the Center for Nutrition Studies at Cornell University. I have over 18 years of work experience in health promotion, disease prevention sector, coordinating wellness and culinary programs throughout the city of Chicago. I'm also the former Illinois State Cookie Matter Program Manager, Coordinator, which is a national nutrition education and cooking program for children and families. Our mission is improving eating habits for healthier lifestyle, increased longevity, and better quality of health. The mission of Eat Well Cooking Club is improving eating habits for healthier lifestyle, increased longevity, and a better quality of life. We have 3 goals. 1, to increase consumption of vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. 2, to encourage a more nutrient-rich diet plan for better health and to reduce risk factors of chronic diseases and illnesses. Thirdly, to attain a healthier weight through consumptions of plant-based nutrition. The research is out there. People who are overweight and obese have a higher link to chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and other conditions. Disclaimer, waiver, and consent. The information being provided here today by Advocates for Community Wellness and its partners is intended for educational purpose only. It is not intended to replace the advice of your medical doctor or other healthcare professional with whom you consult. The instructors, we will provide you with information on our credentials and training to teach this class. We want you to make note that the recipes that we use may contain some common allergen, and we want you to take full responsibility to modify recipes as needed for your own personal health. Recording, all our Zoom sessions are recorded, but you have the autonomy to turn your video on and off at your discretion. And for our presenters and agenda today, Del Kane, I would lead a fun activity entitled, What's Your Cupcake Personality? And Chef Karen will lead the culinary experience of providing us some delicious desserts to accent your dinner table for Christmas. We are a faith-based ministry, and so we always like to lead with a biblical reference. And today is coming from Jeremiah 29:11 NIV. And I selected this because of the uncertainty that we have about the future, anxieties and stress that we experienced through this year, 2021, and definitely over 2020. I thought that having a reference of what our future looked like. And so it reads, For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And as I read this passage, I like for all of us to think of a word that we can go into the future, 2022, just a word that it could pick of what we want our future to look like. And as I reflected over that, I thought of the word bright, BRIGHT. And so you're going to take your word and you're going to put, and it's going to be an acronym for you, and you're going to put meaning to it. For example, mines represent biblical resources in God's holy temple. And I know as a believer and as a Christian that I am the temple of God, and I have his power, his authority, and his resources lies within me. And so I want you to select a word that you can go into 2022 with that will bring a bright future and bring light to you and your family. Okay, so today activity, we're going to explore what's your cupcake personality. And cupcake can be substitute for cake as well. We have 6 selections: red velvet, carrot cake, vanilla, filled cupcakes, chocolate, and lemon. We know that we may like several of them, but if you can only select one, which one will it be? And for me, I would select the carrot cake. So let's explore a little bit about our personality. This research is coming from an organization that's called food-ology.com. I'm sorry about that. I got a little tie tongue on that. It's putting that hyphen in there. So if I just read it, foodology.com, and it is spelled the way that it sounds, and just put a hyphen in between the food and ology. So if you selected red velvet, you are a vicarious scene stiller. You're vibrant as red velvet. You are the outgoing life of the party. You are an imaginative visual thinker, attracted to beautiful things, including desserts. You almost hate digging into your favorite cupcake because you're especially appreciative to its distinctive beauty. Carrot cake cupcake. You are a less is more sophisticated. You're tempered and balanced, like the subtle, never clogging sweetness of carrot cake. When you have a sophisticated demeanor, and for you, less is more. You would much prefer a greater one-on-one conversation with a friend than a huge party full of mere acquaintance. And I know that is true for me. When I get on the phone with a friend, a girlfriend, we're on that phone for more than an hour, sometimes nearly 2 hours, because I just like the one-on-one. And so that is head on about my personality and demeanor. Okay, so if you selected the filled cupcake, you are a spontaneous life affirmer. You prefer a tasty treasure in the center of your cupcake, be it ooey gooey chocolate, super smooth vanilla cream, or an ob of fresh fruit. You are likely spontaneous and fun-loving. The one thing you crave more than delicious cupcake, surprise. Making the most of every moment, you embrace the unexpected in life. Vanilla cupcakes. You are a laurel leader, a classic choice and traditional flavor. You're likely reliable, steadfast, consistent in other aspects of your life. You are likely to be called a coordinator, someone who initiates and leads from the front of the pack, be it to plan the perfect party or spearhead the most impressive work project. Chocolate cake, you're an all-around go-getter. The richest flavor and craving is incomparable intensity suggests that you have a never settle for less attitude. You aim for the best things in life. In fact, your ambition transcends the workplace and permeates everything you do. from setting the highest standard for yourself in meetings to striving for a new personal best on an activity. Lemon cake. You're a steely optimist. The bold, distinctive flavor at lemon mirrors your own strong personality. As assertive as you are also laid back and are an unflinching optimistic. After all, a lemon cupcake is like sunshine sprinkled with sugar, a flavor that immediately concurs memories of carefree summer days and keep you in sunny spirits. So as we reflect over these different personalities in the cupcake, just reflect on, does that personality in line with the one that you select, is it in line with your own personality? And I'm interested to know some feedback from you. Just let me know at info@a4cw.com about that, okay? So our next section, the Eat Well Cooking Club for Better Health with Chef Karen Crawford Moore. And she is going to lead us with accenting our holiday dinner table with delicious dessert. Okay, Chef Karen.
Greetings from Primo Center, and it's great to be here with you. My name is Chef Karen Crawford Moore. My business is TLC Personal Chefing, and I have been in various arenas of food service for over 20 years. I studied at the Cooking and Hospitality Institute, which later became the Le Cordon Bleu in Chicago. I worked in food research. I've worked in restaurants. I worked in one of the prep kitchens when that was popular. So, and now I have my own personal chef service where I help bring the restaurant experience into people's homes for parties of 2 up to 125. I also do in-home meal preparation for everyday meal planning. And then I do what you're about to see right now, which is teach cooking. So today we're focusing on desserts. And today, you know, we've been celebrating the holidays, the holiday season, both in both sessions. Last time it was appetizers, and today it's desserts. So we're doing a fresh cranberry bar, which is almost like a shortbread, if you think about it. So there's a good amount of butter. We're using plant-based butter and sugar. So if you've ever had, like, you know, the old-fashioned, maybe like a Walker shortbread, think of that with cranberry on top. But, you know, but the base is going to be softer, you know, because it's freshly baked. So that's one dessert. And then our second dessert is a vegan chocolate cake with raspberry sauce. And now I had a recipe that was a little simpler than this that I couldn't locate. But anyway, it's still fairly simple. There's several dry ingredients along with some water, some oil, and some vanilla extract. So those are our 2 desserts. So I'm going to start with the chocolate cake. I think that's going to take just a little bit longer because it's got a few more ingredients. So I have 2 cups of all-purpose unbleached flour, and I'm sure I've said this before, but it's important to use unbleached flour. To that, I'm adding 1 cup of cane sugar. This is 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. Half a teaspoon of salt. And a teaspoon of baking powder.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Is it better?
It is.
Okay.
A little bit. Yeah.
Can you see yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just sifting all of the dry ingredients into the bowl. And that's an important step that a lot of people don't want to mess with sometimes. So you're going to have a nice, delicate product at the end. So one baking powder, soda. And does anyone know, I'm going to ask, if anyone in the group is into baking, why when you're cooking with chocolate, you use baking soda and not baking powder? I'm just curious to know if anyone knows that answer.
To kind of, this is CJ, so to probably, so the taste is not as bitter?
It has to do with the alkali in the chocolate. So whenever you're baking with chocolate, almost invariably, you're gonna be using baking soda instead of baking powder. Even in your chocolate chip cookie recipe, you'll notice it's baking soda and not baking powder. So it's kind of a science, it's a science. So, and not that I'm a huge scientist, but that's about as far as my scientific skills go. So I have all my dry ingredients here, and I'm gonna add my wet ingredients. I have a little whisk here. So this is canola oil, 1/3 cup. I have 1 cup of water. Then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm sorry, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. That's the other recipe, 2 teaspoons. And then 1 teaspoon of vinegar. And you just whisk it all together in one bowl. You don't need a mixer. It comes together pretty easily. And in the recipe, it's called for a loaf pan. For presentation purposes, I switched to a round. This is a 8-inch, I believe, springform pan. So I'm going to pour that into here. Do a little scraping with the rubber spatula.
And this is Dale. If you have any questions for Chef Karen, you can take yourself off of mute. Right now, I'm the camera person and answer any questions.
Well, I had typed it in the chat, but I was asking when she mentioned about bleach, to use the bleached flour as opposed to unbleached, and I was just curious.
No, unbleached flour.
Right, I'm saying, I was asking why bleach as opposed to unbleached? Is it like a texture thing or something kind of like what you just
Well,
mentioned,
it's
baking
good. It's
soda.
not chemical.
Yes.
We don't want to put those things in our bodies.
And this is Dale, another factor too to think about is that bleaching agent, just think of it as a bleaching agent, and the more processing that you're doing to your food, like your flour, with flour comes from wheat or it can come from other grains, that it is being processed. And then there are nutrients that are also being altered as well. So the thing is that, do we want to be, and there's always some residue left behind, always some residue left behind. And we call those things, it's called cytotoxins that are in our food, any chemicals that are used. Okay, that's a man-made chemical.
Oh, see, I guess it was because I had misheard her. So now, okay, because that's why I was wondering, I'm like, so bleach as opposed to unbleached. So I didn't hear her correctly.
No, unbleached.
Okay, all right, thanks for asking.
Yeah, thank you for asking.
And you,
and there's also another chemical that they use, which is called bromate, which, if you can find flour, unbleached, I remember just almost dancing in the aisle when I saw some unbleached, bromated flour. I think it was around the holidays, so, there was tons of flour varieties at that time. But now, going back maybe 15 years, it was a little hard to find unbleached flour, but now it's in every store.
Yeah.
So it's accessible for all of us to make that switch. And the difference cost-wise is very nominal now, maybe less than $1 per 5-pound bag.
so, and the bottom line is that it'll be healthier for you and your family. Now, many times we wonder, like, how, I really examine, like, where all these illnesses are coming from. There's so many illnesses. When you go into your medical doctor and they have you fill out a little assessment, do you have this? Do you have that? Like all these illnesses that heard of, over the past 30 years. And I'm telling you is that it is coming from the food that is disrupting our systems in our bodies. Okay. And the more that we move towards what they call clean food, the least altered food, the better health we will have. And it also helps to reverse also these conditions and illnesses in our body. And I didn't mean to preach, but
No, but you're right. It's a money maker for them. That's why, because when our parents was growing up, you didn't hear all those illnesses then because a lot of them grew their own food.
right.
Because the food was fresh off the farm, probably.
Yes.
You went to the farmer's market and you got your vegetables. You went to the you went to the milkman to get milk.
Right.
You went to the dairy farm, you knew somebody. Or maybe you even had a couple of chickens that you were keeping because, just for the eggs. So, things have changed quite a bit.
Yes.
So I just put the chocolate cake in the oven, and this is a convection oven. I don't know how many of you all are familiar with the difference between convection and conventional ovens. Most of us in our homes have what's called a conventional oven, or ovens for home use, but now they're starting to introduce, you can purchase a convection oven for your home. Now, is it as good as the Pro version? Maybe, maybe not. Kind of depends. I have to weigh that. But moving on to our second dessert, which is our fresh cranberry bar. So in here, I have plant-based butter, and I was so excited to find the sticks of plant-based butter, so I didn't have to measure. I could just take 2 sticks and put it in my bowl here, along with a cup, 2/3 of a cup of cane sugar. So I'm just mixing this together, and it's so soft. Here's a plus of using plant-based butter. It mixes a lot easier than butter, cow's butter. You would have to let it sit for an hour to get it this soft, at least.
And Groove, I am so glad today I'm going to be a part of the test kitchen to sample some of the food. Yes.
So and this is what's called creaming method. Combine your sugar and your butter together. So, a lot of cookie recipes start out that way, with the butter and the sugar. If you make chocolate chip cookies, it starts out the same. Your butter and your sugar, you mix together first, and you add everything else. So we're gonna add some vanilla. And invest in pure vanilla. I mean, it's again, I don't know what they put in imitation vanilla because I don't use it. So, but it's not from the actual vanilla bean. It's some chemicals they mix together to make it taste like it's really from the vanilla bean, but it's not.
Okay, and this is Dale. I'm gonna add that the name will give you a clue. Imitation, okay? That means that is not the real thing. There's a term that we use this is more of the foodies, it's called Frankenstein food. And when it first came out, it used to be called designer. That was a nicer name, but that came from the food industry, designer food. And one of the first designer food was the margarine. Remember, to help to reduce the saturated fat. Well, 10, 15 years, 20 years fast forward is that designer food really had caused more heart disease and more harm to the body than the original product, which was butter. And I have just adopted, my philosophy is that we cannot improve on God. Man cannot improve on God. We think we can, we market it as though we can, but when everything is said and done, and you're counting up the costs and the harm, is that we just really need to go back to the original food and to the garden. Any comments on that?
Yes, agree. And even though pop is bad for you, but a lot of times people think when they're drinking diet soda that it's actually better, but it's like what you just said, it's actually worse for you and does more harm to your body than regular pop does.
Oh yes, I can talk on that. You don't want to push my button on that one. In studying nutrition, I would just share with you about because everything has a beginning, so it's like the origin. And many things, it starts as, it's almost like a mistake that hey, we can use this for that. Well, that's how saccharin came about. It was a scientist looking to create, it was something else. I don't remember what it was. No, no. It was a chemist, right? But then he had spilled it. And then he was tasting his fingers, I guess you put your fingers in your mouth or whatever, eating whatever. And he saw that it was sweet. And then that was the beginning of saccharin coming onto the market. And of course, they do a little research on it. Is it harmful? Would it hurt anyone with low quantities? But the thing with the saccharin, now that it's so widely used in these, here again, artificial sweeteners, is that it's the accumulative. A little is not going to hurt you, but it's the accumulative value in the usage of it. It will harm you over time. And then we're seeing the effects of it. So sometimes it's really nice. It's just, as in my class, we would have them to take one thing that you drink or eat, let's say like your diet soda, and just Google one of those ingredients. So you can find out what the origin of it is and what it is and how they use it, because they use it in more than one way. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
That's like this place, and not to gross anybody out, where I would go get a colonic at. That's where I learned a lot of that stuff, of those type of ingredients is being bad for you, because they would explain, just like even with that, they was like, I guess they would use it or something with mice, and mice wouldn't even go near saccharin. And I was like, are you serious? They're like, yeah, when you're taking that diet stuff and those foods that says 100 calories and sugar-free, they're like, all of that stuff is bad for you. It's worse than the actual food. And I was like, oh my God.
It's better to, a term is like roll back or turn back the amount, say like using butter or using, the cane sugar. It's better just to roll it back, is to use less of it than to go towards, here again, it should give you a clue, artificial food-like substance. Okay. All righty.
I dropped my comment in the chat, Dale.
Okay, can you, because I'm on the camera and I'm not monitoring, we can have an open dialogue with the chef and myself.
Okay, so I basically just said that everything that we eat or drink, they try to lessen the fat, sugar, or sodium. And so my philosophy has always been, give me the fat, not reduce, not less fat. And if I'm going to be drinking coffee, I don't want decaffeinated, because the process that they try to undo something is more harmful, as you stated, than just having it just regularly. As long as you're not doing too much of it, too much of anything is not good for you.
Yes, so true. So true. And a lot of the processing agent and steps that they go to, it has been linked to cancer. And I know that word has just been thrown around a lot. I'm a cancer survivor myself, overcomer myself. And I asked, like, how did I get here? Okay, many roles, it's probably not just one thing, but several things, but I do know the foods I was eating was one, because being a nutritionist, I know that fried food consistently over a long period of time can cause cancer. And so in my busy days, eating fast food and eating it 2 to 3 times a day, contribute towards it. And so it just happens. You want to share anything else with us, Chef Karen, as you are, because I can talk.
But yeah, so here I have my cookie dough here that I'm pressing in. What I did was I took a sheet of parchment paper, extended beyond the width of the pan, and just dropped it in the center here. I'm sure Dale is happy to see I finally rolled out some parchment paper. I'm so stingy with it. So the dough is, expect the dough to be tacky, it's very tacky. So it will kind of stick to your fingers a little bit. But you just want to kind of press it in and make like a nice even layer of that dough. And then I'm reserving about a third of the batter to go on top. So you'll see that what I do with that in just a minute. So I'm just smoothing it out a little bit. Okay. And then here I have a cup and a half of fresh cranberries. Thank goodness they had fresh cranberries this time. Last time I went to try and get some, all they had was frozen. So these have been rinsed, and I'm just dropping these over the top of that cookie dough layer.
Oh, they look so pretty.
I can't wait to taste it.
And then I'm just taking, crumbling up little bits and pieces of that residual dough that I saved in the bowl here to make little pockets. So you don't want it to completely cover the berries. You want, because you want to see them kind of burst out when they as they bake. But you just want to have like little crumbles of dough in between the berries. And I like that this recipe is, using just fresh cranberries. I mean, cranberries are not the sweetest fruit out there, and I think most of us have had, we've had that Ocean Spray can of cranberry sauce that probably half the can isn't even cranberries, it's sugar. It's so sweet.
High fructose corn syrup.
High fructose corn syrup, one of those.
Check that label.
Check that label, right. But I've convinced my family several years back that the fresh homemade cranberry sauce is better. Mm-hmm. And so, and then you can play with it. You can add orange peel to mm-hmm. it, or lemon peel, or ginger, or diced apple, diced pear. Any of those are wonderful complements to it. And then you make it your own, you can do it different every time.
Has anyone made their own cranberry sauce? I did it once, and I really did enjoy doing it. And if I do say so myself, it was delicious. The texture of it, Mm-hmm.
It's kind of
I called myself was gonna do it this year, and then I didn't. So we are still that family that do Ocean Spray every year.
Well, it doesn't take that long. It takes you to go to the store and get the cranberry sauce you can have. Fresh cranberries. I mean, it's like 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's that quick. And you still have another holiday opportunity coming up. Mm-hmm. I mean, they might be a little harder to get, when spring rolls around, but maybe somebody has something else they've done with cranberries. I'm curious to know. You can make cranberry bread or muffins. Okay.
Oh yeah,
you can
cranberry.
thin out the sauce and make like a syrup. So it's all only limited by your imagination. And I'm going to ask a nutrition question. So what color is cranberries? What color?
Like a maroon.
Pardon me?
Maroon.
Yeah, maroon or red, dark, maroon is just a dark red, so that they're just right. But so when we look at we did a session on this, the red and purple, we say red and purple food is an indication of, let me say, to help what organ in your body?
The heart.
Right, right. Yes. And so, and by it being red and having color, it gives an indication that it has lots of antioxidants and nutrients in it. So, and that's where we get a lot of the things like with the berries and the ones with the true colors. There's some chemicals in it where they're phytochemicals, which phyto means life, or phytonutrients in it, that acts as a scavenger. You know what a scavenger does? It cleans up, eats up like debris. I'm just saying light debris. Well, in our bodies, these cytotoxins, things in the red, whatever is good for the heart, because it is helping the cardiovascular system, is that it's going to also help to clean up some of these cytotoxins that are in our body. And so it's what is called reducing the load that's in the body. We all get it. I mean, by breathing the air. I remember I was driving behind a truck or a bus or something, and I had my windows down because it was in the summer. But then when we were like stalled at a light or a stop sign, whatever, I just saw all that fume just coming back, and I started rolling up the windows. And then my husband said, well, what's wrong with you? I said, I don't want to inhale all that toxin, not directly. And so we get exposed to it, the water that we drink. If you're living in your house, my house, I live in a bungalow. I was having a conversation with my husband. I said, this house is nearly 100 years old. Okay, the city is changing the lead now, the lead pipes that pipes the water into our house, okay? And so we can imagine that the lead that's coming through the pipe. So we get all these toxins, in our bodies, but we have to help our body to eliminate them. And that's when we eat food that are of color, the reds, the oranges, the yellow, the purples, the greens. Greens are really antioxidant and detoxifying. It will help to clean out our cardiovascular system. Any comments about that?
And you saying that kind of, like I knew that with the berries and things of that nature, and with cranberries, of course, we don't really myself don't think of cranberries except for this time of year, Thanksgiving and Christmas. But I know, like my mother, like if she would point out like a kidney infection, oh, you need to drink some cranberry juice. Oh, you need to drink cranberry juice. So now, yeah, that makes sense.
I actually like to make a mix of cranberries, raisins, and sometimes some nuts, peanuts. It makes a good trail mix.
Oh, yes, yes.
Oh,
yeah, I like it in my oatmeal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yes. With the almonds. Now I'm about to make me some oatmeal.
Now, when you make the oatmeal, remember, make it enough for 2 to 3 days. But one of the recipes that we use, and I did it the other day because I just had a little oatmeal left. And so I made my own little oatmeal nuggets. I just took the cooked oatmeal. I add the raisin. I had some walnuts. I put a little cinnamon in it. Now, you can add the vanilla. You can add a little bit of the vanilla, but I didn't. And I just put them on like a teaspoon on the parsnip paper and put it in my toaster oven because I didn't need to turn on the big oven for it. And just cook it for about 20 minutes. I let it cool off. I tasted it and I said, let it cool off, and I put it back in for another 10 minutes. And it was that was my snack and my own go-to that I didn't have to buy. Crunchier. I put 20 minutes for it to cook on 350 or 375 is usually my go-to. And then I let it cool down completely, and I tasted it was still a little moist. And then I put it back in the oven and let it cook for 10 more minutes. Yes. There is a, help me with this, Chef Karen. There is a, I think it's French coffee cake that is called double bake. You remember double bake? I, biscotti, yes, that's it, biscotti. It's called double bake, and that's how they get that little crunch because they're baked twice. Okay, so I took my knowledge from that. Yes, yes.
You have to cut it in little pieces, and then you put it on the edge on the sides that are soft, and then put it back in the
oven. Yeah, to get that. Okay. Yeah, we made it in one of our cooking class. We did. Maybe we may do next year is do. I don't. You never did that with me, but we did a taste around the world, and so each week. Well, it's a series we did. So we went to a different country, and we did a cuisine. We did that. A few of that. I think we did. I think we went. Oh, maybe our other one. Yes. Maybe our other class we did at St. James.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, my daughter, the former school she used to be at a few years ago, and they had cooking there. That was the kind of cookbooks they had. It was like the dish that they made every week. It was like, from somewhere from a different country.
Oh, okay. I'm going to do a time check. I wasn't monitoring the time. It's 11:58. It's 11:58. So let me, here, I'm gonna have to put the camera down. I'm gonna do a few more slides. I'm gonna ask everyone, can you give us like 10 minutes? It'll be a part of our after talk, if those who can. But I'm gonna let Chef Karen finish off the dessert, and then we're gonna come back.
So real quick, while we were talking, I have in my pot here about 10 ounces of fresh raspberries that have been rinsed, a quarter cup of water, and a quarter cup of sugar, cane sugar. So I almost like cooking the cranberries. This is going to be a raspberry sauce to go with our chocolate cake. So that's an accompaniment for that. So this is it didn't come out well. So this is through the magic of the internet and Zoom. This is how the chocolate cake looks coming out of the oven, and it's very moist. I had a hard time getting it out of the pan, even though I oiled it. And I'm just gonna put one slice on my plate here. And then once the raspberry sauce comes together, that'll be a garnish. And then here, I have to do a little flip around here. This is our these are cranberry bars that need to be just cut into squares like you would a brownie or any type of bar cookie. So I'm going to, and feel free to shout out with any questions. I need to clean the chocolate off of my knife so I can cut my cranberry bars. But feel free to interject anything, ask questions, maybe think about some modifications you might want to do with either of these. I always like to do any of them.
So we're gonna go offline while you played everything. I'm gonna finish off with our slides. So thank you very much. And so we're gonna end the year with another photo drawing. And this is just, recipes, an appetizer or side dish. Just send us a picture of it. We have one of our winners on from our last one when we talked about smoothies, a breakfast smoothie, and she did one and she won. she won the raffle drawing for that. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Just send in us a copy. We'll probably post it on our Eat Well Cooking Club Facebook page, okay? And we want to get some conversation around that too, especially the holidays. How many of you are cooking for the holidays? So I'm sure there's going to be some activity. Just take one of those dishes out and put it in a frame and send us a picture. You're going to send it to info@A4CW.
I didn't know you all were doing this, but the last one you all did with the Primavera, I made that recently. I just happened to take a picture of it, but I didn't even know you all were doing this contest. So I'll send it in.
You didn't send it last time, so if you took it, if you have one already, just send it to us.
Okay.
And that goes for any of you. And it could be any of your dishes. It doesn't not necessarily have to be the dishes that we're serving. Of course, we are advocating for, embracing plant-based nutrition. We know that is, it's good for us, for our body, is good for the animals, is good for the world. And so it's cleaner air. And it makes us have what is called clean. There's a term now called clean conscious, is that knowing that we're eating from the land, truly from the land. And I want to say earlier when we were talking about, someone was sharing, I think if that was you, was sharing about drinking cranberry juice when you have like a urinary tract infection, is that the father of medicine said, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. And I always say, before the first prescription was ever written, before the first prescription was ever written, we went to the garden, we went to the fields, we went to the trees, we went to the barks of the trees to make our teas and our medicinal herbs for our health and our healing. And we need to rekindle that relationship and the books are out there. As I mentioned to you, I was decluttering and I came across some books. Oh, I've been looking for that book, and so that has some things about the herbs that was written like 30 years ago. Okay, you can truly find some gems in there that are still true today. So getting back on our presentation, we want to invite you to join us next Saturday, this upcoming Saturday on the 18th from 3 to 4 at our December wellness information session and engagement, where we're going to talk about cardiovascular dementia. We're going to be joined by Dr. Christopher Howard. He is a doctor of psychology focusing in neuropsychology, and that's the workings of the brain. Okay, he's also on he's a part of Advocates for Community Wellness. He is our Director of Mental Health Education and Awareness with Advocates. So please join us and share with others. If you want to stay connected, with us, I'm going to, if you ever want to know what programs we have coming up, you can always go to our website at A4CW.org and just put /events. I post events there. You can always, and there'll be links to it. We do have our January classes scheduled for next month, so stay tuned for that. And stay connected with us. Please like us, follow us on Facebook at Advocates for Community Wellness, also at Eat Well Cooking Club for Better Health, and then on Instagram at Advocates for Community Wellness. All right, and so this ends our session for today. It's 12:08, and I'm going to ask Chef Karen, are we ready to view the final plating, or if there's any final questions? And you can still put in the chat. I can review it later. Any other question? I know some people said that they wanted what's your cupcake personality? I will send that out. And did everyone get the recipes for today? They came up with the reminder and confirmation.
So here is our vegan chocolate cake, and I just garnished it with some raspberries, but you'll see if you see the recipe that the sauce does need to be strained. So because of the seeds. Time wouldn't permit for us to do that. But another company might be a whipped topping or a chocolate sauce, or and maybe a little sprinkle of nuts. So those are some other options for toppings for this chocolate cake. And then here are our beautiful cranberry squares.
Oh, me, I can't wait.
And they're red and white, they're festive, they've got cranberries. What doesn't say holidays more than that?
Yeah.
So there you go. And they're very tender too, very, very moist and tender.
Okay, so please put up the cooking instructions. You want that now? You can say yes if you like. Or you did receive it in the email. I really didn't see who had mentioned that. Please put up, that's Johnny. Johnny, there was a confirmation that went out around 10:30. There is what is called a flip book in that confirmation, and the recipes with the directions are in there. Or do you want to see it now? I can pull it up for you, and you can do a screenshot. Is that a yes or no? Okay, so these are the ingredients. And so, yes, Karen, can you just go quickly over the vegan?
So you're gonna take all of your dry ingredients, your flour, your sugar, your cocoa powder, baking soda, and salt, and you're gonna sift that into a bowl, like a medium-sized bowl or larger. Then you're going to add to that same bowl your oil, all your liquids, your oil, your extract, your vinegar, and water. And then you just whisk it all together, one bowl. And then you pour that into a greased pan. The recipe said 9x5 low pan, and the presentation for it, I changed it to around 8-inch pan, and it worked just fine. So, either of those. And then you bake it for about 45 minutes.
So I like the vegan, no eggs,
No eggs, no butter.
no milk, no dairy. Okay, and it's delicious. One time at one of our events, we featured some brownies.
Uh-huh.
And people were just loving the brownies. We served it as a little dessert for after our presentation. Oh, I need this recipe, Del. And when I gave them, it was black bean.
Oh, wow.
And so we had.
So they were mashed or pureed or something?
What?
Black bean?
Oh, yes. It was pureed within the mixture with the chocolate. And they were just loving it. And they were just so surprised. And it goes to show you, we have these mental barriers up in our minds about like what we have learned through our programming about what food should be, which we have gotten off. It's like we're off the path. Just like sometimes with our health, we're off the path. We got to get back on the path and really just eating. I just want to re-emphasize that. Eating from the garden, and you do not compromise flavor, taste, and presentation. You don't. So many times I serve things to someone and they just loving it. And I said, well, did you know it is,
Like, yeah.
Right. Or did you know
It
that
doesn't
it's
have.
in that, And one time I did my banana nut bread and it was vegan. My nephew was just eating it all up. And that's when I went to baking, when we went through the COVID, 19, I was baking.
Yeah.
I think I showed that on my Facebook page. I was baking quite a few things, but I had to stop because I was wearing that.
The COVID-19 was turned into the COVID-19.
Yeah. Yeah, the extra, really, extra 19 pounds across the waist. And then I start, oh, you know, that old commercial, we can give it to Mikey. I have a nephew. And because Marcus, oh, I could give it to Marcus. So I would always give him half, whatever I could try it, you know. And I wouldn't tell him, I just say, like, it's banana nut bread. Try, oh, this is good. Want something to take home? And I'll give him half of the loaf. And then I'll tell him that it's vegan. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell this Thanksgiving. So I decided I was going to make 3 desserts. I made a spice cake. I made a apple pie, apple and pear, and then I made a lemon pie. My husband loves lemon. All things
I do too. Mm-hmm.
And so I made a lemon pie, and I had bought like 2 dozen eggs. And between, I guess, making cornbread and dressing and whatever else, the recipe that I normally use called for 4 eggs. I didn't have 4 eggs. I had 3 eggs. So I said, you know what? I bet I could find a lemon filling that doesn't need any eggs. So sure enough, I Googled and I found a recipe. There was no eggs, and I used, I think I used like a plant-based milk instead of regular milk. And it was great. There was none left, or hardly. I mean, there was a little left. The pie went first. The pie, the apple pear pie went first, but they dug into that lemon pie like, you know, they had no clue. Yeah. Well, I shared with the women. Okay. After we had started cutting into it, and you know, nobody was like, oh, stop, you know, I'm not having, well, eating half of it now.
Right, so, right, and loving it.
What are you gonna do? So yeah, nobody missed that. Nobody missed it.
So I really enjoyed being in the kitchen. I miss being in the kitchen with Karen. We've been cooking together in our program with nutrition education and cooking. Has it been 3 years or 4 years?
I don't know. It seems like,
yeah,
but in one sense we just started, and another sense it seems like 10 years.
Yes.
But
yes. And so we are officially concluding for today. We want to thank you so much for joining us. And I was saying, how can I get Karen off of Pen? Okay, here we go. We're officially ending for today. We want to thank you for joining our community. We want you to continue the journey with us in 2022. Look out for some communications from us. We hope you don't mind receiving it, but also to please join us for Saturday. You'll be surprised in how it really does affect the African-American community, especially when you just look at, you can Google the stats on just Alzheimer's, which is a form of dementia, how that it impacts African-American families at a higher rate. And once again, it can be tracked back to the diet, because Alzheimer's disease is unofficially called type 3 diabetes. Okay, I'm going to end with that. So thank you all for joining us. We love you, and hope to see you in 2022. Well, Saturday first, and then in 2022. Okay, bye.